Thank you so much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cutting Edge Concerts New Music Festival. We are in our 20th anniversary, and we're glad to have been around for 20 seasons and going strong. So thank you for helping make this all possible. Big applause for all of you. Thank you. So we have an extraordinary concert tonight, and I just want to say that the piece that you just heard is called Phones Off. Get the message? It was written by Neil Rolnick, who reproduced very cleverly electronically all the different cell phone sounds, so you know what to do. I want to start out by interviewing the pianist who is going to be performing on the first half of the program, Taka Kigawa, because he is a very eloquent exponent of new music. So please welcome to the stage Taka Kigawa. So, in addition to being a pianist who plays the standard repertory, you have also specialized to a great extent in contemporary music. Did this come about? How did this come about, I should say?
Thank you. Actually, I started learning a sort of 20th century piece or modern pieces when I was like less than 10 years old, 8 or 9. I was first fascinated by music of Debussy and Prokofiev. Prokofiev is not much of a contemporary music, but that kind of modern music. Simply put, I remember I was more fascinated by dissonance, what we call like a half tone or a major seventh chord. So that's my entrance to contemporary music, more wilder, more advanced, more angular, conventional pieces.
The other thing that you can do as a composer, as a pianist who's playing music of living composers, is you can actually talk to them about it and be really sure of what it is the composer wants. You collaborate, I know, very often with composers.
Yes, working with composers is a lot of fun. That's one of the major, pleasure as being a musician, exchanging ideas, musical ideas inspired by, actually, all the composers give me new perspective, inspiration, which in turn I can use as a pianist in various ways. So I'm very fortunate to live with such a talented composers, especially in this New York City. So many wonderful, fantastic composers. So I feel very lucky. I'm sure a lot of composers here too tonight.
Indeed, and we're going to hear your eloquence as a pianist. But before we do, I'd like to ask Richard Carrick, who is going to be the first composer on the program, to join us on stage. Richard, welcome. Now, your piece has a very interesting origin. It's called La Touche sonore. And at first I wondered why you had the title in French, but then reading that it was a piece that was inspired, as it were, by Debussy and the sonorousness of his music. You mentioned something very interesting before when we were talking. You said that when a note is sounded, it's not just the actual sounding initially, but there's a whole bloom of sound that happens after that. And I wonder if you can talk a bit about that and perhaps let our audience in on an aspect of listening that they may not have been aware of.
Sure. Hello, everybody. Actually, yeah, French is actually my first language. I was born in France, so I kind of gravitate towards that in almost an instinctive way, and I guess that was also what I was interested in with the piano, which is my instrument. But it's very difficult to compose for your own instrument, as I'm sure many people feel this way. So I was looking for a way to kind of create a new labyrinth to kind of get to something interesting. And studying Debussy's scores, not just quoting his melodies, but actually trying to figure out how he organized his ideas. And I did that, and what I found is when you play the instrument, when you play the piano, you have I call it the sonorous touch. So you're playing and you're putting sounds inside of the sounds that are already there in the piano. So you'll hear, and Taka is such an incredible virtuosic player to create these layers of sound. And I was interested in kind of creating these big sounds and then working the minute sounds inside of those and vice versa. So that's why it is called la touche sonore. It's actually called la touche sonore sous l'eau, which is underwater. So you can imagine this almost kind of like, I don't know.
Cathédrale engloutie,
Yeah.
right? The French Cathédrale engloutie, which is famous both in visual as well as, of course, the musical. Well, thank you so much, both of you. We look very much forward to hearing La Touche Sonore sous l'eau.